Nuclear decommissioning is the process whereby a nuclear power plant site is dismantled to the point that it no longer requires measures for radiation protection. The presence of radioactive material necessitates processes that are occupationally dangerous, hazardous to the natural environment, expensive, and time-intensive. Decommissioning is an administrative and technical process. It includes cleanup of radioactive materials and progressive demolition of the plant. Once a facility is fully decommissioned, no radiologic danger should persist. The costs of decommissioning are spread over the lifetime of a facility and saved in a decommissioning fund. After a facility has been completely decommissioned, it is released from regulatory control and the plant licensee is no longer responsible for its nuclear safety. Decommissioning may proceed all the way to greenfield status. Options: The International Atomic Energy Agency has defined 3 options for decommissioning. Immediate dismantling: this option allows for the facility to be removed from regulatory control relatively soon after shutdown or termination of regulated activities. Final dismantling or decontamination activities begin within a few months or years, and depending on the facility, it could take 5 years or more. Following removal from regulatory control, the site becomes available for reuse. Safe enclosure SAFSTOR: this option postpones the final removal of controls for a longer period, usually on the order of 40 to 60 years. The facility is placed into a safe storage configuration until the eventual dismantling and decontamination activities occur. Entombment: this option entails placing the facility into a condition that will allow the remaining radioactive material to remain on site indefinitely. This option usually involves reducing the size of the area where the radioactive material is located and then encasing the facility in a long-lived material such as concrete, theoretically preventing a release of radioactive material. Experience: a wide range of nuclear facilities have been decommissioned so far. This includes nuclear power plants, research reactors, isotope production plants, particle accelerators, and uranium mines. The number of decommissioned power plants is small. Companies specialize in nuclear decommissioning. Decommissioning has become a profitable business. More recently, construction and demolition companies in the UK have also begun to develop nuclear decommissioning services. The current estimate by the United Kingdom's Nuclear Decommissioning Authority is that it will cost at least £100 billion to decommission the 19 existing United Kingdom nuclear sites. Due to the radioactivity in the reactor structure, decommissioning takes place in stages. The plans of the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority for decommissioning reactors have an average 50-year time frame. The long time frame makes reliable cost estimates difficult. Cost overruns are common even for quick projects. North America equals. Most nuclear plants currently operating in the United States were designed for a life of about 40 years and are licensed to operate for 40 years by the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The average age of these reactors is 32 years. Many are coming to the end of their licensing period. If their licenses are not renewed, the plants must go through a decontamination and decommissioning process. Several nuclear reactors dismantled in North America. Type, power, and decommissioning cost. Asia equals. Reactors not located in Japan. Several nuclear reactors dismantled in Asia. Type, power and decommissioning cost per kilowatt of electric power. Japan, the 3 damaged reactors at Fukushima Daiichi No. 1, No. 2, No. 3 are expected to be decommissioned as well as No. 4. Western Europe and former Yugoslavia equals. Several nuclear reactors dismantled in Western Europe. Type, power and decommissioning cost per kilowatt of power. European Union website about nuclear decommissioning. World Nuclear Association, United Kingdom. Repository for Radioactive Waste Misliban, at $2.2 billion. Eastern Europe and former Soviet Union equals. Several nuclear reactors dismantled in the nations born from the former Soviet Union, and reactors dismantled in countries formerly belonging to Warsaw Pact, and/or to Comecon. Type, electric power and decommissioning cost per kilowatt of power. World Nuclear Association, OSTI. Legal aspects: the decommission of a nuclear reactor can only take place after the appropriate license has been granted pursuant to the relevant legislation. As part of the licensing procedure, various documents, reports and expert opinions have to be written and delivered to the competent authority, for example safety report, technical documents and an environmental impact study. In the European Union, these documents are the basis for the environmental impact assessment according to Council Directive 85/EEC. A precondition for granting such a license is an opinion by the European Commission according to Article 37 of the Euratom Treaty. Article 37 obliges every member state of the European Union to communicate certain data relating to the release of radioactive substances to the Commission. This information must reveal whether and if so what radiological impacts decommissioning a Europlan disposal and accidental release a Euro will have on the environment, that is water, soil or airspace, of the EU member states. On the basis of these general data, the Commission must be in a position to assess the exposure of reference groups of the population in the nearest neighboring states. Cost: in USA, many utility estimates now average $325 million per reactor all up. In France, decommissioning of Brennerless nuclear power plant, a fairly small 70 MW power plant, already cost $480 million and is still pending after 20 years. Despite the huge investments in securing the dismantlement, radioactive elements such as plutonium, cesium-137 and cobalt-60 leaked out into the surrounding lake. In the UK, decommissioning of the Windscale Advanced Gas-Cooled Reactor, a 32 MW prototype power plant, cost $117 million. In Germany, decommissioning of Niederegg nuclear power plant, a 100 MW power plant, amount to more than $143 million. Decommissioning funds equals, in Europe there is considerable concern over the funds necessary to finance final decommissioning. In many countries either the funds do not appear sufficient to cover decommissioning and in other countries decommissioning funds are used for other activities, putting decommissioning at risk, and distorting competition with parties who do not have such funds available. Currently the European Commission is looking into this issue. It is estimated that during the next 2 decades, the dismantling of the 150 nuclear reactors in Europe will cost around $150 billion, with an average cost of $1 billion per reactor. Similar concerns exist in the United States, where the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has located apparent decommissioning funding assurance shortfalls and requested 18 power plants to address that issue. Decommissioning companies equals, businesses such as bluegrass companies perform the actual decommissioning process in conjunction with the reactor's engineering managers. International collaboration, organizations that promote the international sharing of information, knowledge, and experiences related to nuclear decommissioning include the International Atomic Energy Agency, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's Nuclear Energy Agency and the European Atomic Energy Community. In addition, an online system called the Deactivation and Decommissioning Knowledge Management Information Tool was developed under the United States Department of Energy and made available to the international community to support the exchange of ideas and information. The goals of international collaboration in nuclear decommissioning are to reduce decommissioning costs and improve worker safety. Ships, mobile reactors, military reactors, many warships and a few civil ships have used nuclear reactors for propulsion. Former Soviet and American warships have been taken out of service and their power plants removed or scuttled. Dismantling of Russian submarines and ships and American submarines and ships is ongoing. Marine power plants are generally smaller than land-based electrical generating stations. See also, Nuclear Decommissioning Authority, Ship Submarine Recycling Program, Nuclear Entombment, MARUL, D and DKMIT. References. External links, United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Backgrounder on Decommissioning Nuclear Power Plants, Business Insider, UK, Getting rid of old nuclear reactors worldwide is going to cost way more than people think. Germany's Economy Minister Sigmar Gabriel says state won't pay for nuclear decommissioning. Nuclear Decommissioning Report is the multimedia platform for the nuclear decommissioning industry, Decommissioning.info is a portal with information on nuclear decommissioning, U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, European website on decommissioning of nuclear installations, decommissioning fund methodologies for nuclear installations in the EU, report by the German Wuppertal Institute, commissioned by the European Commission. May 2007. Master Nuclear Energy Decommissioning and Waste Management.